Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Today I'm going to recap the winners of all the ESPY awards. We'll recap the WNBA game from yesterday, look ahead to today's games. Major League Baseball's back, so we'll go over that slate. We'll go over the early leaderboard at the 3M Open. I'll do my MLB power rankings before we start the second half of the season. News and notes and best bet. We're going to start with the ESPYs. We'll go over all the results of the awards. So, Steph Curry, great host. I thought he was funny, and I thought that Draymond Green had some moments in there, especially when he interrupted with his podcast, which was really, really funny. So I thought the best award of the night was Jimmy V. Award for Perseverance going to Dick Vitale. Dickie V is one of the faces of ESPN, especially in the college basketball realm. Him and college basketball are synonymous when it comes to ESPN's coverage. And seeing Dickie V on stage and talking, it was really nice, and Dickie V had, hands down, the best speech of the night, and it was very, very emotional, and Dickie V, hopefully we see in the college basketball season. He only called a handful of games, I'm not mistaken, last year, and I remember he got all emotional with Dave O'Brien on the broadcast. They showed that on TV last night as well. So, and the irony here is that in 1993, Dickie V introduced Jim Valvano ahead of his unforgettable speech. So this is very ironic and, quite frankly, meant to be. The Bat Tillman Award for Service went to Gretchen Evans. She made an inspiring speech. The Arthur Ashe Award for Courage went to Vitaly Klitschko. The Sports Humanitarian Team of the Year, the Denver Broncos. The Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award, Albert Pujols, Joe Buck introduced that, or presented that to Albert Pujols, which was cool. Obviously, Buck called the majority of Pujols' games, and Pujols was in his prime with the Cardinals. So that was pretty neat. Best athlete, men's sports, went to Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, reigning AL MVP. Best women's athlete went to Katie Ledecky of swimming, which was pretty cool. Breakthrough athlete, the most unlikely winner, I think, in Eileen Gu, the skater. Good for her. Best record-breaking performance went to Stephen Curry, passing Ray Allen for the most three-pointers made in NBA history, which I thought would be the case. Best championship performance went to Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. Best comeback athlete went to Klay Thompson. I think it should have been Trey Mancini because of his story, but I thought it was going to be Joe Burrow. Best play, the corner kick goal by Megan Rapinoe, which I thought would be it. Best team went to the Golden State Warriors. I thought that was not deserving for them. I thought it should have went to the Rams because they were the best team in the NFL the whole season. Golden State took advantage of some injuries and whatnot and won the title. But they still won the title, though. And part of me thinks that was a little rigged because Curry was the host. But there are more deserving teams than the Warriors, such as the Rams, the Sooners in college softball, the Bulldogs of college football, and the Avalanche even, I thought, were more deserving than the Warriors. But, hey, the Warriors won the championship, and to me, you have to win a championship to be the best team. Best Olympian women's sports went to Katie Ledecky. Best Olympian men's sports went to Caleb Dressel. Best game went to the Chiefs over the Bills in overtime. Best college athlete for men's went to Bryce Young. Best women's college athlete went to Jocelyn Alo. Well-deserved. Best international athlete men's soccer went to Kylian Mbappe. Best women's soccer international athlete went to Sam Kerr. which I thought. Best NFL player went to Cooper Kupp, amazingly enough. Best MLB player went to Ohtani, which I thought. Best NHL player, Connor McDavid, which I thought could have been the case, but I thought it should have been Austin Matthews. Best driver, Kyle Larson of NASCAR. Best NBA player went to Stephen Curry. I mean, well, of course it did. He hosted the show. Best WNBA player, Candace Parker. Good for her. Best boxer went to Tyson Fury, rightfully so. Best MMA fighter went to Charles Oliveira. Best men's golf athlete went to Justin Thomas. All four of those guys are deserving, though. Best women's golf athlete, Nelly Korda. Best men's tennis athlete went to Rafael Nadal, deservingly so. Best women's tennis athlete went to Emma Raducanu, well-deserved for her. Men's action sports best athlete went to Eli Tomac for Supercross. Best women's action sports athlete went to Eileen Gu, who really was a big winner last night. Best jockey went to Jose Ortiz. Best athlete with a disability for men's went to Brad Snyder of swimming and Paralympian. And best athlete with a disability for women's went to Jessica Wong of swimming. Best bowler, Kyle Troup. Best MLS player went to Carlos Vela of LAFC. Best NWSL player, Ashley Hatch of the Washington Spirit. And then a bunch of WWE moments were up for best WWE moment. It went to Cody Rhodes returns at WrestleMania. So it was an interesting show to say the least. There are some of the awards I thought were head-scratching because of Curry's presence. But it is what it is. Fans vote. And the Warriors have a lot of bandwagon fans. And a lot of good fans as well. So, the Warriors were pretty much winners of the ESPYs as well as Eileen Gu. And, of course, Dickie V. All right, now I'll move on to the WNBA. I'm going to talk about yesterday's game and look ahead to today's slate. Sky over the Storm 78-74. So best bet did not come through, unfortunately, because it was like 160.5 and I liked the over. And that's 152. Today you have 11:30 on NBA TV. You have the Liberty and the Mystics from DC. The Mystics are favored by 8.5. Totals 158.5. I'm gonna go take the Liberty getting the points. I know I've been doing this a lot lately, but they're just due to come through here. 3:30 NBA TV. You have the Dream and the Sparks. The Sparks are favored by 1.5 at home. Total is 159.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with LA. 10 o'clock on NBA TV, you have the Fever and the Aces. The Aces are favored by a whopping 16.5. Totals 174.5. I like the under. That is a very, very high total in that game. All right, now I'm going to look at the Major League Baseball slate for today. That's only like 6 games, including 2 doubleheaders. Doubleheader game 1 at 1 o'clock this afternoon is the Yankees and the Astros. We don't know who's going for the Yankees yet, ironically enough. And then Christian Javier's going for Houston. If I had to guess who's going for New York, I'm going to say it's probably Jameson Taillon. The Astros are minus 120. The Yanks are plus 102 over under 8, minus 110 each way. Yankees plus 1.5 is minus 220. Astros minus 1.5 is plus 180. Yankees are 56% according to ESPY Analytics. I'm taking them plus 102 to win their first game coming out of the All-Star break. Rangers Marlins, I think this is a makeup series from earlier in the year, a part of it. John Gray and Pablo Lopez. Marlins minus 112. Rangers minus 104 over under 7. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 168. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 205. I love the Marlins. They're 62.6 to win according to ESPN Analytics. And they're only minus 112. I'm laying that minus 112 with Miami. 3:30 at the Tigers and the A's, Game 1. Tariq Skubal and Zach Logie. Tigers minus 148, A's plus 126, over under 7.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Tigers minus 1.5 is plus 126, A's plus 1.5 is minus 152. I'm taking Oakland as a home underdog, plus 126. They're 55% to win according to ESPN Analytics. 6:30, doubleheader Game 2, Yankees-Astros. We don't know who's going for New York, and Luis Garcia is going for Houston. I would think J.P. Sears is probably going to start one of these games for the Yankees, and then Jameson Taillon's probably going to start the other. We don't have the lines up for the second game. Yankees are favored, according to ESPN Analytics here, too, 57.1%. If I had to guess, I'm going to say the Yankees and Astros split today. 7 o'clock doubleheader Game 2, Tigers Athletics. Garrett Hill and Frankie Montas. Oakland minus 162, Tigers plus 136, over under 7, overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 170, Astros minus 1.5 is plus 140. I'm sorry, Athletics. A's are 70.6 according to ESPN Analytics. I hate to do this, but I'm playing them with the run line. And last but not least, 10 o'clock on ESPN, a big game between the Giants and the Dodgers. Carlos Rodon and Mitch White. Dodgers minus 136, Giants plus 116, over under 8, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Giants plus 1.5 is minus 176, Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 146. I'm going to go with the Giants. They're 50.3 according to ESPN Analytics. They're plus 116. I'm taking San Francisco at plus 116. All right, now I'm going to look at the early leaderboard for the 3M Open. Your early leader right now with a score of 2 under is Scott Piercy. Tied for second with 1 under, you have Matthias Schwab, Matthew Neesmith, Matthew Wallace, Chasen Hadley, Ricky Barnes, Sungjae Im, Martine Laird, and Lucas Hodges. Tied for 10th at even, you have Robert Garrigus, Derek Lamley, Arjun Otwal, Matt Avery, Joo-Hyung Kim, Nate Taylor, Hideki Matsuyama, Dylan Fratelli, Cheng Pong, Ricky Fowler, Ryan Palmer, and Danny Willett. Tied for 22nd with 1 over, you have Chris Stroud, Brian Davis, Scott Gutschewski, and Sahith Theegala. 26th with 2 over, you had Adam Svepson, and 27th with 3 over, you have Bo Van Pelt and Parker McLaughlin. All right, now I'm going to do my Major League Baseball power rankings as we head into the second half of the season. The theme of the week is MVP, LVP, and second half prediction. So most valuable player, least valuable player, and second half prediction. I'm going to go from 30 to 1 as I do each and every time. Number 30, the Washington Nationals. The most valuable player is Juan Soto. Even though some of his stats are not great, he's still Juan Soto. Least valuable player, Patrick Corbin. They're trying to trade his butt in every Soto trade. And the bold prediction of the second half, I'm going to say that Juan Soto stays on the Nationals past the trade deadline. I firmly believe that they should hold on to him until the offseason. Because I think in the offseason you'll have more suitors that are teams that have underperformed, are a rebuilding team that wants to get better. And the team I told Julian that I think he can end up on is the Chicago Cubs, because they're going to be a seller at this deadline. They're going to accumulate more assets, and then they're going to go for it in the winter and try to acquire Juan Soto, maybe sign Devers or Bogarts as a free agent, or even Aaron Judge as a free agent if they want to go that way as well. So look out for the Cubs for that. 29, the Cincinnati Reds. Most valuable player, Brandon Drury. Brandon Drury was one of the few all-star snubs. He really had a fine first half. Least valuable player, Mike Moustakas. Yikes. He just isn't a good baseball player anymore. And my bold prediction for the Cincinnati Reds is that they trade starter Luis Castillo to the New York Yankees for Oswald Peraza, Hayden Wisniewski, Luis Heel, and let's throw in Brandon Lockridge in that deal. So I think that is a good package for Castillo. Maybe they throw in one more piece. Maybe it's Yoendrys Gomez in there. So we'll see. Number 28, the Oakland Athletics. Their most valuable player has been Frankie Montas. I know Paul Blackburn made the All-Star team, but Montas is just a better pitcher. Fair and square. Least valuable player, Tony Kemp. He's been terrible. In my bold prediction for them in the second half is they trade Paul Blackburn to the team that hooked him up for the All-Star game, the Houston Astros. I just think that's appropriate. Going back to Oakland, I have Hunter Brown, Sean Dubin, and Jonathan Bermudez. So 3 pitchers going back to Oakland in that deal. Number 27 is the Detroit Tigers. Their most valuable player has been reliever Gregory Soto. He's been money for them most of the year. He made the All-Star team. Least valuable player Spencer Torkelson. He just got sent down. My bold prediction for them is that Riley Green leads the team in home runs in the second half and potentially will end up leading the team in home runs for this season. Number 26 is the Kansas City Royals. Their most valuable player is in Bobby Witt Jr. He's been absolutely amazing for them. Least valuable player, Chris Bubic. He's just been terrible in their rotation. And my bold prediction for them is that they trade Whit Merrifield to the St. Louis Cardinals for Joshua Baez, Tink Hence, Connor Thomas, and Delvin Perez. I know it's a little bit of an overpay, but I really would like to see Whit Merrifield on a good team. Number 25 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their most valuable player has been Brian Reynolds, as he's starting to heat up a little bit. Least valuable player, Diego Castillo. They're Diego Castillo. And my bold prediction for him in the second half is that O'Neal Cruz has a big second half, which prevails him to be a National League Rookie of the Year finalist. Number 24 in this rankings is the Chicago Cubs. Their most valuable player in the first half has been Wilson Contreras, who made the All-Star team, reestablishing himself as a top 3 catcher in baseball. Least valuable player, Jason Hayward. I mean, I'm sorry. He has the worst contract in baseball. That was a dud of a free agent signing. My bold prediction for them in the second half is that they trade Ian Happ to the New York Yankees. So another Yankee trade. Going back to Chicago here, I have Everson Pereira, Luis Medina, Justin Lang, and Davy Garcia. The number 23 team on the list is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Most valuable player, Shohei Ohtani. He plays 2 ways. He, of course, is going to be that. Least valuable player, Joe Adell, who's been awful and has been a bust. And my bold prediction for them in the second half is that they trade Raciel Iglesias to the San Diego Padres for Victor Lizarraga and Ray Kerr. Short and cute trade. Angels get 2 pieces back. Padres get themselves a pitcher. Number 22 is the Arizona Diamondbacks. Most valuable player for them is Joe Mantiply, who has been a pleasant surprise on the Diamondbacks this season. Least valuable player, Carson Kelly. He's supposed to be their catcher of the future. He really has flamed out. And my bold prediction for the Diamondbacks is that they trade Mantiply, take advantage of his trade value, and send him to the Minnesota Twins for Simeon Woods Richardson, Ronnie Henriquez, and Danny D. Andrade. So they trade a couple pieces and get Mantiply to join their bullpen. Number 21 is the Colorado Rockies. MVP for them is C.J. Cron, who really is taking advantage of Coors Field and putting himself in a nice spot. And the Rockies, too. Least valuable player, Chris Bryant. He's just been awful for Colorado. And bold prediction is that, I think I said this in the preseason, I'm going to say it again. C.J. Cron is just meant to be on the Tampa Bay Rays. I think they trade him to the Tampa Bay Rays. And going back, Carlos Colmenares, Herberto Hernandez, and Mason Montgomery. So, a nice little package going to Tampa Bay. To Colorado from Tampa Bay for Cron. Number 20 is the Texas Rangers. Their MVP is Martin Perez, who has just been a surprisingly decent pitcher for them in the first half. LVP has been Spencer Howard, who they got from Philadelphia and has flamed out. And my bold prediction for him in the second half is that Perez flops. I just don't think he's that good. I think he's going to be terrible in the second half. I think he's going to be a humongous flop. And the Rangers are going to regret not trading him. Number 19 is the Miami Marlins. Their MVP is Sandy Alcantara. He's just been money. He's the favorite to win the NL Cy Young. He's so good. And LVP, Trevor Rogers, he just hasn't lived up to the hype. And bold prediction for them is that Max Meyer gets called up and pitches to an ERA sub-3. I think Max Meyer is going to be a stud. And pitching in that ballpark in Miami, I think, will do him wonders, like Alcantara and Lopez. 18, the Chicago White Sox. Their MVP is Jose Abreu. He's been their MVP the second he signed there. Hitting over 300. I don't know where his power's gone, but he's a hitting machine. He's like a poor man's Miguel Cabrera, but just doesn't get the respect that Cabrera got. Their LVP, I have Yohan Moncada, who really just hasn't lived up to expectations. And my bold prediction for him in the second half is that the team fires Tony La Russa. I don't know if it'll be before the season ends or after the season, but I think Tony La Russa is bye-bye. Number 17 is the Baltimore Orioles. Picking an MVP for them was very hard because they really have put it together as a team. So there's not one person that particularly stands out. I know some people say Adley Rutschman because they turned in the corner when he got called up. But I'm going to go with Austin Hayes. He leads the team in WAR. He's just been really good. He's finally put it all together. And LVP, Robinson Chirinos, who's just been garbage this season. And my bold prediction for the Orioles is that they hang around 500 into mid-August. I predicted on the show I had Julian on Tuesday that the Orioles would fall apart or regress a little bit come mid-August. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to say they hang around 500 until August, and then they kind of fall apart, and then they'll, to me, end up with 75 wins. Number 16 is the Cleveland Guardians. MVP for them, Jose Ramirez. Who else? He's an all-star. He was in the Home Run Derby. He's single-handedly keeping that team afloat as well as their starting pitching. And their LVP has been Lucas Hedges, who has just been terrible. And my bold prediction for them is that Eli Morgan gets traded to the New York Yankees in a package including Brock Selvage, Randy Vasquez, J.P. Sears, and the catcher that was a first-round pick, not Austin Wells. He's not even in their top 30 anymore. Can't think of his name. Anthony Siegler. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. He's not even in their top 30 anymore. He's flamed out that bad. Maybe a change of scenery could help him. Number 15, the Boston Red Sox. Their MVP has been Rafael Devers. I mean, no doubt about it. He's amazing. He's in a contract year. Their LVP has been Bobby Dahlbeck, who they were expecting big things from this season. He's flopped. And my bold prediction for the Red Sox is that Tristan Casas gets called up and he hits 15-plus home runs. It's going to be similar to Gary Sanchez when he got called up by the Yankees in 2016. Number 14, the San Francisco Giants. Their MVP has been Logan Webb. He's a stud in that rotation. He's an ace. He's a stabilizer. Their LVP has been Brandon Belt, who really just isn't the same player anymore. And my bold prediction for the San Francisco Giants is that after having the best record in baseball a year ago, they will not make the postseason. They're a half game back right now of a wild card spot, but I don't think that they'll make the playoffs. Number 13 is the Philadelphia Phillies. Their MVP has been Kyle Schwarber. He really has turned it on when the team turned it on. Their LVP, Didi Gregorius, he just isn't a good baseball player anymore. I mean, the Yankees were right to let him go. And the reason why he signed in Philly is because of Joe Girardi being there. And my bold prediction for the Phillies is that they will acquire Charlie Blackmon from the Colorado Rockies for Johan Rojas, James MacArthur, and Damon Jones. So 3 prospects going to Colorado for Charlie Blackmon. Number 12, the Toronto Blue Jays. Their MVP's been Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's a stud. We all know it. He's amazing. All he can do is hit. He's the new Miguel Cabrera. He's so good. And their LVP, Matt Chapman, I mean, he was supposed to be this big-time run producer, but he really hasn't lived up to expectations. And my bold prediction for the Blue Jays is that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will win the American League MVP. I think he's going to have a big second half. The Blue Jays, bonus prediction, they'll get the first wild card. They'll play the Minnesota Twins, and or assuming it's the Twins that win the Central. And Vlad's going to have a huge second half. I could see the Yankees resting Aaron Judge on occasion to try to get him healthy for the postseason. And I think that because of that, I think Vlad will put up the numbers and they will ultimately get the first wild card and finish in second place in a stacked American League East. The Minnesota Twins I have at number 11, ironically enough. Their MVP, Luis Arraez, who is really having a career year for them. Their LVP, Miguel Sano, who unfortunately is hurt and just isn't what the Twins imagined him to be. My bold prediction for them is that they'll acquire Tyler Mahle from the Cincinnati Reds. And So, in the trade, going back to the Reds, I have Louis Varland, Blaine Elno, and David Festa. Number 10, the Milwaukee Brewers. Their MVP, I have Corbin Burns, who's just amazing and is in the conversation. The repeat is NL Cy Young. Their LVP has been Keston Hiura, who just keeps getting sent down and not making a big impact like the Brewers imagined. And my bold prediction for the Brewers is that they acquire Brandon Drury from the Cincinnati Reds. And going back, I have highly touted prospect Bryce Terang, Xavier Warren, and Taylor Floyd going back to Cincy. Number 9, the St. Louis Cardinals. Their MVP is Paul Goldschmidt, who is the NL MVP frontrunner right now. He's just been amazing. He's probably having the best year of his life. Their LVP has been Paul DeJong, who is in the minors, amazingly enough. And my bold prediction for the Cardinals is that Albert Pujols gets close to tying Alex Rodriguez on the all-time home runs list, but just comes short. I think the Cardinals are going to realize that Pujols really shouldn't be playing a lot and that they should be going for the playoffs in their division. But I'm going to say Pujols ends up with 694 home runs. Is that, I think, realistic? Yes. Number 8, the San Diego Padres. Their MVP has been Manny Machado, who has just been awesome for them, keeping them afloat. And their LVP, Will Myers, who they're just dying to get rid of. The my bold prediction for the Padres is that Fernando Tatis Jr. comes back and is their best player. I know Manny Machado has been money in the first half, but I think Tatis has the highest ceiling of any player on the Padres. He's the best shortstop in baseball, so I think Tatis will come back and be their best player. Number 7, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. Their MVP has been Shane McClanahan, who has just been amazing. He's the favorite for the AL Cy Young right now. And their LVP, Josh Lowe, who really hasn't done much. And my bold prediction for the Tampa Bay Rays is a big one. I have them acquiring Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates for a package including Carson Williams, Cole Wilcox, J.J. Gose, and Mason Orr. I like that for the Rays, and I like it for Pittsburgh too. And yet again, the Rays just trying to fleece the Pirates. Number 6, I have the Seattle Mariners. I have their MVP Ty France, LVP Jared Kelenic, who is in the minors. And my bold prediction for the Mariners is that Julio Rodriguez wins the American League Rookie of the Year running away. It's going to be a unanimous vote. Just like Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso, unanimous Rookie of the Year winner. Number 5, the Atlanta Braves. My MVP for them is Austin Riley, who has just been amazing. For some reason, he was initially an all-star snub. LVP, Eddie Rosario, who was a big part of that World Series team a year ago. It has regressed. My bold prediction for the Atlanta Braves is that they're going to acquire Andrew Benintendi from the Kansas City Royals. Going back, I have Jesse Franklin V, Indigo Diaz, William Woods, and Luke Waddle. So a couple good prospects going back to KC for Andrew Benintendi. Number 4, I have the New York Mets. Their MVP, Pete Alonso. I mean, come on. He's Pete Alonso. He's an all-star home run derby participant. Leads the team in home runs. Their LVP has been Eduardo Escobar, who they brought in as a free agent, has just been a flop. And my bold prediction for the Mets is that Jacob deGrom comes back and pitches to a sub 2.5 ERA. The Mets people are just raving about how good DeGrom looks in his rehab and just being in the NL East and pitching in the NL in general. A couple weak opponents along the way. I think Jacob DeGrom will look like Jacob DeGrom. Number 3, the Houston Astros. My MVP for them is Yordan Alvarez, who's just been absolutely money for them. LVP, Martin Maldonado, who's just struggled all year long. And my bold prediction for the Astros is that they acquire Michael A. Taylor from the Kansas City Royals. And going back, I think it's going to be a cheap trade. Jordan Brewer and Spencer Arrighetti. Number 2, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers. MVP, Freddie Freeman. I mean, he's been their leader offensively this year. You could argue Mookie Betts for them, but I'm going to go with Freeman. He's having a fantastic year in his first year with the Dodgers. LVP, Craig Kimbrell. He's just been awful for them. And my bold prediction for the Dodgers is that they acquire David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates to help their bullpen. And going back to Pittsburgh, I have righty Landon Knack, righty Nick Nastrini, and let's throw in Cody Hose. And number 1, the New York Yankees. They have the best record in baseball, so they deserve the number 1 spot. Although the Dodgers are coming for them. The Dodgers are 60-30. They're coming. And the Yankees are 64-28, so it's close. MVP, Aaron Judge. I mean, come on. He should be the AL MVP favorite at this point. But he's not according to Vegas. According to Vegas, it's Ohtani, but I think it should be Judge because he's the best player on the best team. And that's why Mookie Betts won in 2018. Mookie Betts won the AL MVP, and deservingly so, in 2018 because he was the best player on the best team that ultimately won a championship. But I know the MVP is a regular season award, and Mookie was amazing in the regular season, and as has Judge this year. And LVP, I mean, he's the LVP of baseball, and it's Joey Gallo. I mean, he's just been awful. You could argue he was the worst acquisition ever made by Brian Cashman. I think he was the worst trade acquisition ever made by Brian Cashman. I think his worst acquisition, period, as Yankees GM was signing Jacoby Ellsbury, but I think Gallo was probably the second worst. And my bold prediction for the New York Yankees is that Garrett Cole will win the American League Cy Young Award. Cole is starting to round the form. He pitched brilliant against the Red Sox over the weekend and really pitched well against the Reds as well. You'll see him potentially tonight in Houston, but I doubt it. You'll probably more likely see him in Baltimore against the resurgent Orioles. But I really do think that Cole's on a mission and he'll capture his first Cy Young Award, which is long overdue at this point. All right, so there you have it for the power rankings. Now I'll move on to the news and notes for today. Not a lot to talk about. The Madden rankings are a big story. And Aaron Donald to the coveted 99 club for the 6th consecutive year. Well-deserved. Aaron Donald is just amazing, and he deserves that honor. All right, the safeties. Tyrann Mathieu first at 94. Derwin James is a 93. And then running backs came out. Derrick Henry's a 97. Nick Chubb is a 96. Jimmy Garoppolo can seek a trade as the 49ers officially give him permission to seek a trade after he was cleared to start practicing. If I'm the Niners, I keep Garoppolo for the season because I just don't think that Trey Lance is ready to start full-time yet. Darren Waller seeking new deal as him and the Raiders had conversations about a new contract, and Denzel Perryman also wants a new contract. The Browns won't trade for Jimmy Garoppolo as they are not expected to pursue him despite uncertainty around Deshaun Watson. We'll move on to ESPYs. Steph Curry made a chirp at LeBron, and as he pointed out that he hosted the ESPYs in 2007, in which that was the year he lost his first finals. And Steph made a comment about that, and he's like, and guess what? Well, I just won the finals, and I'm hosting the ESPYs. That was actually pretty funny. And I talked about how Draymond started to do his podcast in the middle of the show, which was kind of funny. Steph also had a very petty Instagram story as he responds after Grant Williams said the Warriors weren't the better finals team, just more disciplined. Oof. So James Harden and the 76ers agreed to a 2-year deal, $68.6 billion. That includes a player option. Good on James Harden for taking a pay cut to help the team put together a competent roster to compete for the title. So I really like what the Sixers have done this offseason. In two baseball news is Dallas Keuchel DFA'd by the Diamondbacks. So it's the second time he's been DFA'd this year. And Tyler Mahle to start on Sunday against the Cardinals, which will be his first start off the injured list. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting stuff in baseball and in the WNBA. Obviously, yesterday was a loser with picking the over in the Storm Sky game. So I'm going to go back to baseball, and I'm going to lay to minus 112 with the Marlins. I'm going to lay a half unit on it. I just think that line is very short, and I think that the Marlins should be a larger favorite than minus 112. So I'm going to lay a half unit on the Marlins, minus 112, against the Rangers as my best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking ahead to a busy weekend ahead in sports, and obviously news and notes and best bet. And I might have a guest on later, my friend Steve, who has not been on in a while, maybe talking hockey, so keep an eye out for that potentially. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.